And congratulations on a new album. It's coming out in a couple of weeks, but I've had a chance to listen to it. It's 14 Steps to a Better You, which sounds very promising. Is there a concept behind that title? Or I know there's 14 songs, so give me the lowdown.
Well, there's 14 songs that I guess we felt like we were telling people how they should live their life in a certain way. I mean, we just got halfway through the album. We felt like we were quite forceful with and opinionated on certain situations. You know, not every song is a self-help thing, but it's our opinion and how we live our life. And I guess with so many Anthony Robbinses around and so many Jane Fondas, then we just felt like this was if anything, if we're ever going to do a self-help tape, then this is it.
Right. So which song, say, would you give as an example of something that's offering a little assistance to the listener?
Maybe No Plans to Make Plans.
I
think it's like track 4 or something.
Track
3. No, we're taking the piss as well. We're not.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're taking the piss with it. It's like we don't really have the best judgment either.
Well, at least you're willing to admit it.
Yeah, it's quite a contradiction, you know. I don't think we think that a lot of those self-help guides are something that you probably shouldn't be listening to too deeply, but you know, that doesn't mean that they are going to stop trying to tell you what to do. And I don't think that anyone should really take our opinion too seriously. I don't think they're going to really be doing too well from that. So I guess everyone's a bit hypocritical. And I think our album is quite hypocritical. You know, even that song, No Plans to Make Plans, it's about someone that takes their life quite too seriously, quite selfish and, self-obsessed in their work life. And it's all about advancing them as a person and not really thinking about others or just the beauties in life. And that song itself is just completely idiotic and the opposite of that character. So there's, you know, contradictions all the way through the album, really.
Right. Well, there's a line in there, she's stressing out on the good life, which kind of doesn't make it, you know, it's like, why would you stress out if you're having a good life? So I guess, I see what you mean.
Well, yeah, the 5-star hotels, you know, often that sort of lifestyle can be more stressful. You're working so hard to build your bank account and to be in higher positions in your work life, but you might be staying in 5-star hotels and a platinum flyer and all of that, but you're not exactly a happier person. So
it seems that way.
I think of those simple things.
Yeah. And I guess one thing that kind of spurs a lot of opinionating these days is the fact that everybody has time to sit around and think because they've been kind of locked down for a while, which probably is a good thing and a bad thing. How has it been for you guys?
It's been quite good. Yeah, fortunately enough, we moved into a large house with 8 people living here. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of space. We've got this room that we're in right now is an old helicopter hangar, which is where our studio sits. You know, it's sort of like some sort of 70s porn mansion or something. It's quite run down, but it's good fun. There's a pool and a tennis court and things like that. So we're pretty lucky in that way.
We also had a big year ahead of us, like these months that have just passed. We're meant to be 3 American tours and a European tour. Yeah. Off the back of just sort of consistent touring for the last 4 years or something. So 5 years, maybe more than that.
Yeah, there's been a solid break. Yeah, we did cancel a world tour, but we have, for the first time in a long, long time, been a bit more domestic and you know, wake up and not running to the airport to fly to a different city or something. It's like wake up and go for a swim and then start the day. It's a bit more normal, probably how people should live their lives.
Right. And so it sounds like you've been pretty much touring since we last saw you here a few years ago. How has that affected you guys as a band?
It's been awesome. Like it's pretty crazy, and it's only when you're settled down and in lockdown that you really sort of realize how amazing and also intense that lifestyle is. You know, doing our last Europe tour in, I think, 5 weeks, we did 30 shows or something like that. I mean, that's a lot of shows to play in a lot of different cities. And we've realized how amazing it is just to be playing in front of a few thousand people at a venue. Like, that's insane. It's not like we took it for granted, but like you just get out there and you do the show and then you think about the next one. And it's like,
yeah,
now that you're not doing it and you can't even be in a room with 50 people, let alone, you know, a few thousand, it seems so surreal.
Right.
So, but it's been a lot of touring and been really, really busy. And that's kind of why we've been able to do what we want to do. It's
Gotcha.
really great.
So having this time off and kind of sitting back and thinking about things, has it caused you to consider what you want to do once it's kind of back to normal?
We'll probably go back to touring.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to a point now. We were just talking about it the other day that we're really missing it now.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It seems to be a common thing among folks that I've been talking to, is that they're really anxious. They miss that communication with their audience and the audience as well. So I'm guessing.
We're incredibly jealous that you guys are a step ahead of us and that you've got venues opening. And I was just talking to someone, you know, and they said they went to a show at Power Station in Auckland, and it was awesome, and everyone was sweaty and there was a mosh pit and all of that, and you're just like, oh, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward. I'm going to the Power Station in a couple of weeks. But I saw a band, Miss June, a couple of nights ago down at the Tuning Fork, and it was just like the first big rock show that I've seen since everything's got back to relative normal. It was fantastic. Yeah.
Nice.
So, New Zealand bands? Is it all New Zealand bands playing?
Yeah. Everybody's out there touring now. It's all happening because
it's all local, right?
Yeah, but it's all local. We have no. I mean, they're talking about obviously opening up things between New Zealand and Australia, which I'm sure everybody wants to happen as soon as possible. So hopefully that'll help.
Yeah, well, our little secret is that we've got like a tour penciled in for September. So
very good.
I think as long as the borders open up in time for us to be able to, like, you know, sell the tickets for those, then I think we'll be there.
Yeah, well, we have sports to thank. You know, they got to get the NRL going and get the rugby going. So
I know,
might as well
exactly.
jump in on the coattails.
we're so critical of sporting arenas and that whole sort of huge commercial industry, but it's only doing us favors at the moment because you can't not have your cricket and your footy.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. So getting back to the album, so what would you, if you were telling people about this new record and how it may differ or be the same from what you were doing before, how would you describe it to folks?
I don't know. It's probably an extension of the last one, a bit more thought out, a bit. It's definitely pretty fun. It's like I think it's a bit of a fun album, and it's silly, taking the piss a lot.
Yeah.
I think we felt a bit more free to do what we wanted to do in this one. When we were making Permanent Vacation, we were listening to, you know, quite a lot of references and pulling things from different things that different genres and songs that we liked, and getting tastes from everywhere. But we didn't really do that as much in this one. We sort of just went with what we wanted to hear. And I think knowing the instrumentation that we liked and sort of chasing that, we just were able to sort of create an album that was sort of our sound. I guess our sound it's definitely getting more and more wacky, but we're just doing what we want to do more and more, as opposed to trying to create a sound. Everyone always used to say, like, you've got to find the Lime Cordiale sound. And look at this band and this band and this band. They've all found a sound, and you guys need to do that as well. But at the end of the day, like, I think not listening to that and just going with the sounds that we really got high
I think
from.
you're finding the sound, because like I love the fact that you have these horns working throughout the record, and there's trombone and trumpet. But I wouldn't call you guys a horn band. You don't sound like Chicago or Blood, Sweat, and Tears or somebody like that. But they kind of weave themselves in and out. Suddenly, out of the blue, a trombone solo will show up, which is totally kind of unexpected. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, definitely. The horns is a big part of that, and the flute and the clarinet as well. Like, I think we were scared that you can't really use that in pop music, or like, in rock and roll bands. Like, is having a flute and a clarinet, is that just a bit lame? That's what we'd ask ourselves before, and now we just, if it sounds good to us, then we should put it in. And like the horns, often we use that as a bit of a pad layer to just go throughout the songs, instead of using a synthesizer, or instead of just chugging away at guitars. Yeah, I think that is a part of the sound that we like, to have a baritone sax, a trombone, and a whatever, like a trumpet, or, just to have that sort of layer going through, sort of, it's become a bit more of a Lime Cordiale thing.
The one track that really struck, I was really impressed with, was Screw Loose. The arrangement that is involved in that, and that there's kind of the trombone comes in there, and I was, like you said, there's a synth. Well, I don't know if it's a synth or if it's horns made to sound like, I don't know what's going on there. And I kind of thought of the Ohio Players. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they kind of had a vibe going on. So
I'll check out the Ohio Players for sure. But I mean, this is one of those songs, a bit like I was saying, that wacky sound.
Right.
I think it's kind of like, we were just in a room and we started writing this song almost as a joke. We sort of we didn't ever think that we'd release this song at all, let alone, it's going to be our next single now. So,
great.
Let alone next single. But we were just laughing through this whole thing, and like there's a big kookaburra laugh in the middle of there, and we just put that in there, thinking that at some point someone would tell us to take it out because it's too stupid. But I think those things are just if we love it and it brings joy to us, and hopefully it'll bring joy to other people. Like, love the horns in that song. And also, I think it's after the first chorus, it's just two slide guitars that create that really strange sound.
Oh, okay.
But, there's a lot of.
Well, do you guys have somebody who would tell you not to do something, or are you kind of working on your own anyway?
Not anymore. We've become too tough.
Yeah.
And
our producer doesn't say no to anything anymore. So
yeah, we can come up with the most ridiculous idea, and he wants to try and make it even more ridiculous and push it even further. So that's a really good feeling to have that. And I think our management and label just sort of know what we like now, and they'd be too scared to tell us to take something out now.
And the horns, I hate to just lay on them, but are they being played by the guys like you have a guy, Nick and Brendan, who are within the group? Is that them playing, or do you have other people coming in and playing?
Well, Brendan used to play trombone with us a lot, but he's sort of moved on to other things. So he hasn't played on this album. Nick plays all the trombone on this album. I played most of the baritone, saxophone, and all the clarinets and flutes. But we had a few other baritone saxophone players come in. Louis played quite a lot of the trumpet. So that's where, we come from, that sort of band instrument, school band instrument background. So yeah, we just, like, I've got the clarinet sitting here next to me as well.
Oh, nice one.
We just don't get them out enough, really.
Yeah.
So it's a good excuse.
I was an aspiring trumpet player, but I got hit in the mouth with a baseball, and that was the end of my trumpet playing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, our mum's always telling us to be careful of our hands,
Right.
Don't chop your fingers.
Yeah. Before we could only do music and nothing else, Louis was tree lopping, and she was just constantly anxious that
I could understand that. Yeah, that could be very dangerous.
Chainsaw through the arm.
Yeah.
And there's 14 songs here. We discussed Screw Loose a little bit. What would you, if you wanted to tell somebody about a highlight of the album for you, which songs would you kind of bring up, do you say?
Do you have a favorite? I like to think that my favorite is Elephant in the Room. But I think I'm only talking about the ones that haven't been released yet.
Right.
Because I like my favorite to be one that no one's heard. But Elephant in the Room, I don't know, the instrumentation on that, I just really love. It's got the right amount of weirdness, and I like creating songs that give you a feeling, and that one feels like an elephant plodding along. It's got those Beatles sounds that we love. Like we got hold of a mellotron, and so there's mellotron sounds all through the album. And
is a mellotron hard to come by?
Well, this one is kind of like a
reissue.
Yeah, digital recreation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That sounds really good.
But they're still pretty hard to come by, the recreation.
I'm sure.
Yeah. They're hard to find. But I don't think I've even ever seen a real mellotron in a studio before. So I would love to.
Yeah. They're pretty unwieldy beasts, I think, in their time. But
totally.
When you know about them and you realize that, like, you listen to Strawberry Fields or whatever, and how they made it sound as good as they did, it's just amazing. But anyway.
Yeah. They're crazy.
So you think you're going to be on the road soon?
Well, we've got a whole bunch of options penciled in.
Yeah.
From the original tour that we've got, we had a huge tour, our biggest one to date, that was to be happening from September through to the end of the year.
Yeah.
With the biggest venues. I mean, and that is still penciled in. Maybe we can fill all of those venues to 50% in Australia.
Yeah.
The New Zealand dates are still sitting there, just waiting to see if we can fly over without having to quarantine for 2 weeks on either end.
Yeah.
And but we've also got a whole bunch of different options as well, like some to 60 people, some to 200. We're just sort of, we've got a few things up our sleeve, and we're just sort of waiting to see what we can press go on.
Right. What's the overall vibe in Australia like, as far as what people have gone through? Are they just kind of fed up with it, or are they kind of putting up with it because they know they have to? Or did they feel the government has done the right thing?
I think everyone's pretty good with it. I think it feels like everyone's sort of given up on it now, that they're just like, life's returned back to normal.
Yeah.
Especially when pubs are opening and restaurants are opening. And
I mean, in the middle of the whole thing, like, there was something like, I don't know, 50,000 people on Bondi Beach at one time, or something like that. People are ignoring it. I don't know if I've got those numbers wrong, but like, people have sort of ignored it from the beginning, as well as being freaked out. So there's definitely been a divide in the general public, but everyone is really eager to just get back into live music and festivals. I'm not sure if what'll happen with festivals over the summer, but everyone's pretty keen.
Yeah, I mean, it's felt good to be just back in mostly small clubs around here at the moment, but it makes a big difference. It's just like you see everybody that you've seen and gigs all for the last 10 years, and it's like a little reunion every time you go out. So it's pretty cool.
Very close.
Well, hopefully we'll see you guys over here sometime soon. Good luck with the record. I've been it is a little wacky, but it's lots of fun, and that's what we need now. So what the heck?
I'm glad. Yeah. Album number 3 will probably just be one whole huge art piece, and you won't even understand what's going on. So yeah, this is probably the one that's the most fun.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, have a good day. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.